Isn't it buying your own property? Aren't these all methods of making your dreams come true? That's what we all hear about. Do you remember a fella named Mark Twain? He said, buy land, because they ain't making more of the stuff. Well, I want to introduce you to my great friend, Mr. Fernando Campos Montesino of Freedom Mortgage. He's going to explain what is all going on about making your American dream come true, what's happening with the real estate market here in Las Vegas, and how things can happen for you. Fernando, thank you for being here today.
Hey, Victor, I definitely appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
Absolutely.
And, the market has, changed in a positive way, right? We have so much things happening here in Las Vegas. We have the Raiders Stadium. Just to give you an example, everybody's just excited that we're going to have our, football team, and then that's just creating a lot of momentum for the economy, as well as the hockey team and so forth. So now what happens with that? Well, part of the excitement is to be and to have a piece of land, being part of Las Vegas, not just physically, but to establish yourself. How? By becoming a homeowner.
When people move to a community and they rent a condo, an apartment, or even a house, I don't think they really feel they have set roots.
Exactly.
And feel like they're part of the community. But you make these things happen for people, and explain how that can happen for them.
Oh, wow.
Explain what you do as a mortgage broker.
Well, I'd like to, first of all, give you, explain, the benefits of that, right? Because you're really building wealth. Most likely is going to be the biggest investment for a lot of people that they are going to be able to make in their whole life, right? Now, people don't think about retirement, but that's going to happen. It's going to happen to me. It's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to everybody. So if I establish myself, buy my home, pay it within the next 30 days or so, by the time I'm retired, I don't have to worry about paying rent. I have I'm not going to even have a mortgage, hopefully, and that means that I'm really going to live the American dream.
I remember finishing college and then finishing law school, and I thought, my gosh, I hope at least I can own a car one day in my life. And then once that's accomplished, if you're fortunate to have that happen, then you think, I wish I could move out of my apartment. And then you look at your first house, and I remember my first little house, and it was quite an achievement for me. And I had to go through all this process of talking to the lender, the mortgage people. Yeah. And I tell you, it's sometimes humiliating and embarrassing. It's like going to a doctor's office and, dropping your drawers and letting them do the exam. But that's what you got to do, right, to see if people qualify.
Exactly. And I consider myself a problem solver. That's what I do, right? I have to restructure your life in a way that you're going to improve your quality of life, making that investment, and at the same time you're going to learn a little bit about how credit works, how important it is to budget, because most of the Americans do not budget, and therefore they do not save money. They live paycheck by paycheck, and unfortunately that is the wrong way of living life. Because you're never really, let's think about this, Victor, for a second. I have my job being on the collecting my paycheck for the last, 20 years. But something happened, and then suddenly I get laid off. Yeah, I can collect unemployment. However, why is it that I was not able to budget, save money, and invest? And now depend on those investments to create a positive cash flow, and not depend on my paycheck, but my investment to make a living.
It comes down to budgeting, of course.
Exactly.
What about those young people or people with problems, such as young people, meaning they have much of a credit history, they have student debt, or they have a lot of bills because they were not responsible, or how about even the more mature people who have had to go through a bankruptcy or two? Are you able to help those types of clients?
We help everybody that wants to be helped. And what I mean by that, we got, I bump into a lot of good clients. They're pretty ready to go on and buy their home, but for some reason they just don't find that perfect home, and they keep renting forever. Then I get those challenging ones, right? They come from some sort of a hardship in the past. To your earlier, point, bankruptcy, foreclosures. I have some collections and so forth. So what my job is to look at that credit report and be able to create a game plan that is going to help them improve their credit, be able to get out of that, and be able to qualify for that. So in a way, I'm a planner, right?
Oh, you're a problem solver too.
Exactly.
So what do you say to those folks that have had bankruptcies, or they've let their car payments gone downhill, and they've had to have their automobile repoed? Are you saying they should give up, or they should talk to someone like you to see what they can do?
They definitely have to talk to someone like me, just because we wanted to help them, right? And based on my experience, I've been doing this for about 20 years. I have bumped into so many different cases that I got to the point where I'm able to create those plans to help them get out of that bad situation that they have or they had in the past, and reestablish themselves. Because it's just, think about this, like, let's say that 3 years ago something happened, maybe I have some sort of a health problem, something that it was completely out of my control, right? So I fell behind. I got probably a couple collections here and there, and maybe fell behind on my payments on my credit cards. Well, I'm going to be punished because of that for the rest of my life? Is that really how the system really works? Well, of course not. We understand that. So now it's about to prove that you got back on your feet. You're making payments on time. You reestablish yourself, and then at that point we can show that to the bank and really to the federal government, because they're really the ones that kind of like help us by setting up the guidelines and show them that the bad time in your life already passed, and now you're ready, and you reestablish yourself, and now you can really afford to be a homeowner and invest on a lifetime. Like I said, investment.
So Fernando, you meet your clients through you get introduced to clients through the real estate agents who are trying to sell these houses or properties to people, and I guess through your relationship with different realtors,
that's correct,
you get to meet these potential clients, and you look at them and you could say, hey, let's see what we can do here, right?
Exactly.
What's your most proud success story in solving somebody's credit or financial problems to allow them to get a house? And you don't have to say names, and just give us an idea what happened.
Oh wow, that's because I bump into challenging situations. I can probably say almost every other month or so. But here's I had the perfect example. I had this the borrower. He was listing his home because he wanted to buy kind of like a ranch property, right?
Okay.
But then throughout the process, he fell behind in a credit card. He made 3 rolling late payments, and that was within a 6 months recent period. So the FICO, from being 620 or so, it dropped to 530.
Okay.
But everything else was paid on time.
And in case people don't know, 530 credit rating is not too good, is that?
No, most lenders will not accept it. But Freedom does, because we are a direct lender.
I don't think you could buy a 20-year-old pickup truck with a credit rating of 530. So what do you do with that?
Most likely not. So he sold his property, and he was already under contract with the property that he was trying to purchase. He was with a different lender. Within 3 months, he was not able to give him the finance. So someone referred him to me.
Okay.
I was able to pull the deal together. Of course, he was using the equity out of that property as down payment for his new property. So that was a huge compensating factor. And we did this loan with an FHA loan. We did not have to send this deal to a private investor like most people will do. So we closed it. Borrower was so happy because we went that extra mile. We were able to help this borrower, even though he has this recent credit challenge, and which is helping other homeowners.
So this guy in bad shape, him having a prior house or that achievement of getting a home before. It helped him out with his 530 credit rating.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about what do you do with the young people? Because the people I'm talking about out of school, out of high school, out of college, big debt, student loans, or no credit history. What hope is it for these folks?
It's
getting a home.
Dealing with the student loans is just a little hard. Just because it does affect their debt to income ratio, and therefore affordability becomes an issue. However, a lot of the times they can call the servicer on these student loans and make a deal to reduce that monthly payment. So a lot of times going from $300 to $50 a month will really help me, because now they're freeing up some cash flow that we can use towards the mortgage payment. So renegotiating those accounts or those payments with the student loans is the very first thing that we do.
It sounds like you're talking about a consolidation even.
It could be a consolidation.
So put all this debt, credit card, student loans in one pot, lower the monthly payments. It reduces their income to debt ratio.
That's correct.
And how much, in today's market, for a new starter home buyer, how much cash should they plan on setting aside to at least throw it down on the house?
Well, we have.
What do you think is a good idea?
Well, it really, is once again, it's case by case scenario, because we try to help the borrowers with down payment assistance programs from the state of Colorado. Of Nevada. I'm sorry. We use Home is Possible. I just got so many things on my mind. So Home is Possible is the main one that we use. They have one for teachers. They have one for that is called Home for Heroes, which is for all the VA. Clients that we have out there, and then we just have the standard ones for anybody that is pretty much a first-time home buyer, for an example, or someone that has not had a home ownership for the last 3 years. And then we have some that don't have to be a first-time home buyer as well, but they have never used the down payment assistance. So we can help them with that. Down payment assistance will vary from 2% of a grant up to all the way to 5% of a grant. So a lot of the times it will cover their down payment and some of their closing costs.
So for like maybe a $100,000 little starter house, $2,000 down, maybe $5,000 down. Of course, the more the better. But those kind of numbers might be enough.
Exactly. Yes. I actually have people using the 4%, 5% grant from Home is Possible. They literally come in with the earnest money, which is usually about $1,500. Their appraisal, which is about $495 on a conventional, and their inspection fee, which is usually about $250, and they can get into a $300,000 home.
And get out of those rental properties.
Correct.
So you see, people, save your money, get out of that apartment, buy a home.
Yeah,
talk to someone like Fernando.
It's important, and I want to point this out, because a lot of people are talking about recession, right?
Well, Fernando, sorry to interrupt, but how long you been in town? I didn't give your background on that.
Since 2003.
So you saw those dark days when all this mortgage problems came up, 2006, 7, 8.
Correct.
The market just went
down.
down.
More like 2008 and 9 and part of 2010. So it was rough. Now, before that, I relocated from Colorado. Okay. So after 9/11, Colorado was hit. Economy was hit pretty bad. A lot of layoffs and so forth. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to relocate to Vegas. Up to until 2003. Just because. You see the potential, right? In Vegas is a way different market than most of U.S. cities, right? But one of the positive things that we have is that we have a lot of California buyers.
Yes.
Relocating. Why? Well, first of all, I'm sure you've been in California throughout the rush hours.
Well, there's more people, more congestion, more traffic, and it's a lot more expensive to live there too.
Correct. The state taxes. Don't forget that.
Yes, that makes a big difference too.
We have that luxury, right? So affordability in California is very low. They relocate to Vegas, and and they see the opportunity that, unfortunately, I can say this, Victor, is that a lot of locals are missing. They really don't see the potential, and I will keep saying this. Regardless of anything, you still have to have a roof over your head. Either you rent or you buy, but you still have to pay a rent. Unless, of course, you go and live under the bridge, right? But who wants to do that?
Or in the bridge or in your van by the river, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
we don't want that. So you make these dreams happen, and I want to ask you about something that I've heard stories about.
Sure.
You mentioned it earlier with sports teams coming into town. I've heard people tell me in the business of real estate or not in the business, maybe they just see ideas on TV, they say it's no big deal that the Raiders are coming to town because there's studies in other markets that say it's not going to make that impact on real estate. And then there's other people on the extreme saying, oh my gosh, now's the time to buy everything possible because the Golden Knights hockey team's here. The Raiders for the NFL are going to come here. It seems like there's two opposite extremes. Do you have an opinion as whether the sports teams coming into town are going to make an improvement to the real estate market? Tell us. You're the expert here.
I see everything as a package. Okay, because the sport teams are bringing value to the local economy. It's not the whole economy is based on these teams, but it's part of the economy, and therefore it's bringing value to that, right? Because now we have the teams and the games and so forth, and then a question to you: where are the Raiders coming from?
Oakland, California.
Correct.
The Bay Area.
And where are most of the visitors that we have in Las Vegas come from?
From California.
Okay. Then guess what? Now we're going to have a lot of these sport fans coming to see their favorite team. So that means that they're going to have to stay on a hotel, or they have to eat food. So they're bringing value to the local economy.
And the visiting teams too. The people from New York,
You got
Pittsburgh, Miami, when they want to come to Vegas, when it's really cold, over in Boston, where the Patriots are freezing, they want to come to Vegas
Yeah, that's
in
a good
December,
point.
right? But you know, I think about it, you know, the NFL games in the seasons, 16 games, half of them are at home. So we're looking at 8 games.
That's correct.
Is that really enough people to visit and come and have an impact on the real estate market? I know the people who sell hot dogs and beer are going to make more money, but is it really going to make my house more valuable? That's what people say yes. Some people say no about it.
What makes a home valuable is demand. So the more demand, that means the more appreciating values will happen in the real estate market. So how can I bring demand? Well, it's like when you have an article, you have more buyers, that means, you know, values go up. And people will buy homes if they have a good job and they're making more money. Is that right?
It's true. If you have an attraction. Look at San Diego. Some neighborhoods like La Jolla, you're going to see a one-story shack next to the beach a block away worth $1 million. You know,
That's
Las Vegas has other attractions, but they don't have the beach there. So maybe you're saying the sports teams will add another element of come and visit us and get our
economy.
property?
That's correct.
So it's not going to hurt. That's what you're
Exactly.
kind of saying?
That's I just, like I said, I see it as a benefit, not short term, but long term. Why?
All right.
Because once again, the more money that we all make, the more stable we are, and therefore we start thinking about making more investments. That's how it is. Because if you have a job, you can afford it. If you don't have a job, then you can not afford it. Then in this case, these teams are bringing people that are going to be here to spend money. That money is going to stay in the city.
How about your own personal experiences in town? How moving from Colorado, how have you enjoyed moving, adjusting, and adapting to the Las Vegas community?
I keep saying this to myself every day when I wake up and I look through the window and look at the sunny day, right? In the matter of fact, I wouldn't say had to, you know, people in Colorado right now, they're going through some snow, little storm, I was checking some videos from my friends. They were actually driving on the freeway. There were like tons of accidents throughout the way. I just look at the window and I said, I'm safe.
And what town or city did you move from?
Denver, downtown.
Oh, Denver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Mile High City. Did snow. Did get cold. So
correct.
how long were you there?
Since 1988 to 2003, that's 15 years.
Oh my gosh! All right.
Yeah.
So you came down here, and so what was different that struck you the most about this great city?
The city is still growing, right? So it has not reached out their full potential. So because we're here, we're able to take advantage of that and make investments. Because when you invest, then you start establishing yourself. Then when people come and they relocate to Vegas, well, they're really starting to establish themselves, and they're going to look for ways to establish themselves, right? Since I'm already established, well, I'm going to help them establish themselves, and that's going to bring business for me. Simple as that. Yeah.
It's logical. I like it. So I assume you've enjoyed your stay here.
Best decision I have ever made in my life. Well, besides getting married. It was my current wife.
Did you bring the wife from Colorado?
I met her here, so it just add value to my relocation.
You met a Vegas lady.
That's
impressive. Someone told me, I don't think he was a very happy fella. He said, asked me a question, what's worse than a Vegas woman? And I kept thinking, well, sure, it's a Vegas man. It sounded funny at the time, but congratulations.
That makes sense. Yeah. So I mean, all I can say is that for people out there, don't waste your time. Invest. It don't matter. This is how I see it.
Invest in the community you choose to live in. Purchase property.
Become part of it.
Buy a home. Establish your roots. And no pun intended. You gotta buy property. Set your roots down. So how can someone get a hold of you and get your assistance and services at Freedom Mortgage?
I'm just gonna give you my phone number.
Okay.
They can reach out to me by my cell phone, which is 702-782-2606. We'll go ahead and repeat that again. 702-782-2606. You can call me. You can email me to my email, which is Fernando, all spelled out, .campos @freedommortgage.com. Once again, that's Fernando.campos@freedommortgage.com. Or you can text me to my cell phone as well.
And you're a user of social media as well.
That's correct.
You have a Facebook account with that name?
I actually do. I don't know what's my Facebook address, but you can look me up for Fernando Campos at Freedom Mortgage, and you're going to find me there as well.
And an Instagram. Don't you have an Instagram?
Oh, Las Vegas Lender.
Las Vegas Lender.
That is my Instagram account. Yeah, I like taking the pictures, and then someone that I really appreciate and really care for helps.
Added benefit, English and Spanish clientele.
Hey. We're here to serve the client, the customer. We are here to help, and that's one of the reasons why I joined the business, just because I saw the high necessity of that the people have for someone that is really that really wants to help. And that's really me. Like I said, 20 years in the business, and I started because my mom became a homeowner back in 1993, and she struggled a lot because she could not find the right help. So years later, I'm like, why is it that I don't do my part? Why I don't help my community? I don't help the people, and give him a better quality of life by them making an investment in real estate, which most likely is going to give you short and long-term rewards.
Well, that's beautiful, Fernando. Want to thank you for being on my show and sharing your advice to the community.
Thank you so much,
Las
Victor,
Vegas.
for the invitation. And
take Fernando's advice, and you're welcome. Set your roots, buy land, buy property, get yourself established. It'll make you feel part of the town that you live in. Thank you, Fernando.
Hey, thank you so much, Victor. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us on Victor Cardoza, Seriously with Victor Cardoza. Have a good week.